What's up, everybody? We're back with Fifth Down Territory. It's Lamb, it's Louie, it's Bahookie. Shane couldn't make it this week, so we got a little three-man team, and we're back and ready to do it. Let's just rip this newsletter ad read real quick, and we'll get right into the show.
Thank you so much for listening to the Stadium Rant original. If you like our content, you should subscribe to our free newsletter, which will include exclusive interviews, articles of the week, and discounts on Stadium Rant merchandise. Visit StadiumRant.com to sign up for our newsletter today.
Perfect, and we're back. We got the news drop because it's training camp and people are getting hurt and things are ready to go. So,
Most importantly, football's back, baby.
Yeah, football!
And if you're a degenerate like Tyler, you probably have a 17-leg parlay cooked up for the Hall of Fame game this Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I will be gambling very availably pretty soon. I don't know about the Hall of Fame game, but we
cooking up those preseason lines.
Which
player
are you most looking forward to see play in the Hall of Fame game?
I honestly can't wait to watch Zach Wilson play after having some training camp reps with Aaron Rodgers.
That's a good one.
To be honest, I know that's probably an easy pick, but
I think that's a good one. For me, it's definitely Cedric Tillman.
I like Tillman. I'm probably going to go with Bam Knight. If the Jets don't sign Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, year off an ACL tear, it's kind of a tough thing to come back from. Only one dude's done it really well, and that was Adrian Peterson. So
the GOAT himself.
Yeah, that dude's a straight robot.
Speaking of injured running backs, let's switch over to the Colts backfield.
Yuck.
So Jonathan Taylor fighting a back injury, not fighting a back injury. You see all these weird angles of him maybe limping and then he's not limping. And aside from just the sheer drama happening over there, they just lost their running back too in Zach Moss. He broke his wrist. He's going to be out a minimum of 6 weeks. So still a couple weeks into the actual season, he won't be there, which leaves them potentially on their running back 3 and 4. So Tyler, Blake, what do you guys think about the outlook of that for Anthony Richardson?
I would just say that Deion Jackson is the RB2. Zach Moss was never going to be the RB2 because he's a career plotter. He's one of those guys who's he's going to get you 3.3 yards a carry. Going to do his work in between the tackles and just not going to wow you. Deion Jackson actually went in there when Jonathan Taylor was hurt and kind of showed some explosiveness and some pop in those games. Yes,
okay.
Yes, he did.
No, hold on. I'm gonna read you these stats. Right, you know I'm a stats guy.
Go for it.
What did you?
Stats.
So hit me again. You said Zach Moss. He's going to get you 3.3 yards per carry, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he has a better yards per carry for his career rate, but he's a plotter. I don't care what stats you're going to tell me about.
2022 Deion Jackson averaged 3.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, and it looked like a lot more explosive.
He caught a lot.
He had 30 receptions maybe, or that's 30 receiving yards. I can't tell on this view. But either way, I mean, I still don't feel super confident that he's, he has 30 receptions for 209 yards for an average of 7-ish yards per reception.
That's respectable.
And he has 68 carries for 236 yards for an average of 3.5 last season. So, that's serviceable, but at the same time,
it's not Jonathan Taylor, obviously.
And it's not JT, and it doesn't really.
I mean, I was just making the Deion Jackson over Zach Moss comparison, not that Deion Jackson could have the same workload as Jonathan Taylor comparison. So I get where you're coming from on the 3.5. I just personally think he has more juice for a running back than Moss does. I've never been a Zach Moss guy.
I think the big point is that Deion Jackson's still really green. And that whole backfield is now. And Anthony Richardson's pretty green. So if I'm Colts management, I'm thinking all this going on, like maybe Gardner Minshew is my guy week 1, you know? Do we really want to put Anthony Richardson out there with no help?
He had every single first team rep today at practice.
I know.
All of them. I don't think so.
As the QB1. I just don't think you're going to do a whole lot for his confidence rolling him out there week 1 with Walmart cashiers at running back and a bad offensive line. And we're going to pretend like he has any semblance of hope at a good week 1 performance.
I'll give you a counter argument. So Buffalo Bills were in this scenario not that long ago when we drafted Josh Allen. And McDermott decided not to start Josh Allen in week 1. And he went with a guy you may have heard of. His name is Nathan Peterman. Do I need to continue talking?
I would say
you ruined your statement with Nathan Peterman.
No, that was the whole statement. Was that like what is the point? Like where are you? Like the reps matter. Like for a rookie quarterback, and like you got to take your lumps. And we've heard he's had his nose in the playbook. Like when he's not on the field, he's reading the playbook, and he's been playing pretty well. Oh, I like this.
Better.
And what is your team gaining from Gardner Minshew besides tanking, which I guess is going to be a later discussion for this.
So I don't know if I'd look at it as tanking as much as you have a rookie head coach who's going to be playing around. I got to figure out where I'm centered here. Playing around with game management. He's going to be playing around with how to call plays and oversee an actual team. And then you're going to add in, right? I just don't see how it's beneficial. I understand that taking your lumps and every quarterback has to do it. Is this the right way to do it? Like that's what I'm saying.
Who are they playing week 1? Who are they playing week 1, the Colts? The Texans? Is that your matchup week 1? No,
it's not. I would not feel that confident about talking that much trash. Week 1 are playing Jacksonville, I think.
Ooh.
They're going to get smacked either way.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Trevor Lawrence and crew with Doug
their
Peterson.
Defense is a bit like, I mean, you've been saying it all season. You don't trust Jacksonville's defense. So
I don't trust their secondary, but I like their coach a lot. And you're going to force Anthony Richardson to go pass heavy because you're already so far down. You know what I mean? Like this just doesn't feel like a recipe for success to me. And I think Gardner gives you the better chance to win a tough divisional matchup week 1. But
I'm going to pass on that take, but I understand where you're coming from on it. I think Anthony Richardson's going to come out and have like 10, 11 carries for like 120 yards and like 2 touchdowns on the ground. Like, and he might complete 3 passes, but like he's going to be a dynamic weapon on the ground.
There's going to be like 3rd and 6s that Anthony Richardson's going to be able to pick up and extend drives that Gardner Minshew's not going to be able to.
Sure, but also, like, just counterpoint here, you're telling me that Doug Peterson's not going to look at this roster and say, we're really going to prep for the scramble drill week 1? Like, maybe they can't anticipate game speed quite how fast.
I mean, everybody did that to Jalen Hurts as well. Like, could they stop him?
Or Josh Allen?
Like, he just, like, it comes to a point where it's like he might just be that physical athlete that you planned for and can't stop.
And I'm not on that side either, but I just like, that rookie quarterbacks are going to make mistakes. And, you make a bad read. You try and make a hurdle against a really good defender and you lose the ball. And it just feels like, he's going to carry the weight of that loss if he feels like he contributes to it.
Let's just say this. The Colts would be a lot better off if they pay Jonathan Taylor and have him in the backfield with Anthony Richardson ready to play. Like, there's no cutting that one up in my.
That's true.
So
pay the man.
Pay, like, you're gonna pay him.
Ship him off.
Don't let me deal with him anymore.
Pay that man.
I don't understand how they can't just like rework contracts a little bit to like set some sort of guarantee, like a guaranteed price that you get every year, and then you have incentive based things to go through it. So you make like $9 million a year. And if you have an excellent season like you did in 2020 is his second year, then he gets incentives to get pushed to like the 13 to 15. You know what I mean? Like if he plays like Christian McCaffrey, he should be able to earn like a Christian McCaffrey, but he shouldn't have a base salary like Christian McCaffrey because he's not Christian McCaffrey, if that makes sense.
I think
there's a lot of CMC talk there too. My bad.
You just got to look back at the money they gave Andrew Luck not to play, and now they're trying to give no money to a player who wants to. Like that just I mean, and I get the argument, right? The Colts have made record-setting market deals on non-important positions in the past. They're pretty known for it. They paid Quentin Nelson, they paid their linebacker.
Darius Leonard,
Shaq. No,
whatever.
Leonard now.
I can't think of what his new name is. His new.
I thought he retired because of that.
Shaquille.
Not even gonna lie.
Yeah,
I thought he retired because of the name switch. Like,
yeah, so they paid Shaquille Leonard
so bad.
And both those guys have been struggling with injury and stuff. And so you have to imagine they're a little nervous to hand out another big contract. But at the same time, you have a rookie QB. Like, what do you care? You're right.
He's your best player.
He is your best offensive player. And if
He's
they pay
your best player
Jr. and not JT, you're really going to have to look at that because MPJ's only gone over 1,000 yards once, I think.
Pittman cannot be a number one wide receiver with Anthony Richardson currently. It's not going to happen. Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson are their offense. Michael Pittman's a good piece to have, but I believe it was Richardson's last year in Florida. Pretty sure he only threw 6 touchdowns to wide receivers. Like, it's not going to be a huge part of their offense. Their wide receivers will play well, but it's going to be a lot of the RPO action, a lot of option stuff, a lot of, give and go stuff between Richardson and JT. If JT is on the field, if not, then they're going to struggle mightily, and they might be in the running for like a Marvin Harrison Jr. type of player next year.
Yeah. Unless you have anything to add, Blake, move on to the next one.
Yeah, I think we're good.
So reports coming out, fights, little scuffles all around the league. The Niners got into one. Travis Kelce's got into a couple. A lot of that's last week's news. But one big one that happened this week is there was a big brawl at Browns training camp, which resulted in Kevin Stefanski making his players run sprints, except the video of that looked like not the kind of sprints I ran in high school. I don't know about you guys. Pretty sure my coach would have made me run 100 more if I did it at that level of vigor. But what do you guys think's going on down in Cleveland? Blake, why don't you start us off with that one?
Yeah, the fights are always like a thing every year in camp. And then we're not really talking about it the rest of the year. It happens to good teams, it happens to bad teams. The big thing about camp is you don't want anyone getting hurt. Like and as we've already seen, those are the stories that we get at this time of year that we're still talking about later in the year. These stories, the fights that we're talking about now, we're not going to be talking about in another couple of weeks once we have some game film to go. But that's exactly it. Is you don't want anyone to get hurt. You only have so much time out there. You only have so many reps to get through the playbook before you start playing games. And it's just a big waste of time, and that's the same thing with running the sprints. And in regards to them not running it fully hard, that's the NFL, and the players making more money than the coaches now. And that was why Nick Saban didn't succeed in the NFL, because he couldn't deal with I think Brandon Marshall was the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL at the time. And Nick Saban runs his camps a certain type of way that you can run at Alabama. Alabama is known for having like the hardest football practices in existence. And guys that played at Alabama get to the NFL and they're like, NFL practices are easy. The stuff where our strength and conditioning coach put us through were way worse. So yeah, you're definitely right. There's definitely levels to it. And
how do you feel about Stefanski's grip on the team right now? Do you feel like he's in a good position heading into the season?
We'll find out week 1 when they play the Bengals. I can tell you that. It's happened before. I remember. I want to say the Bills had something similar happen back when Doug Marrone was our head coach, and I want to say we went 9-7 that year and like missed the playoffs by 1 game. So time will tell.
I personally, I think Andrew Barry's job is more on the hot seat than Kevin Stefanski's, because Barry's the guy who pushed for the Watson deal and all of the Watson stuff. So if that doesn't work out, I think that he could be more on the hot seat than Stefanski. But unfortunately, the NFL goes for coaches before they go for GMs, and then once the coach is gone, then they go for the GM. But I don't know how he can't feel like he's on the hot seat if they don't have another, or if they have another mediocre ass season.
Who should really be on the hot seat is the Browns social media team, because the clips I've been seeing from the official account, not doing them any favors, man. Not doing them any favors.
You couldn't find better? But
Sean
also
Watson needs a 3-yard throw into a net, and they're like, QB1. It's like, you guys can't find an actual throw. Tough.
As far as the fights go, I'm not too concerned about like these big kind of scuffles. It's you've been going through mini camp, you've been going through training camp, and now you're at practices like preseason. You're itching to play somebody else at this point. So like that animosity that you're building up, that energy you're building up, like you get into August and it's like, all right, I got to actually hit somebody here. And then you do, and the other dude's like, bro, like I'm on your team. Why are you doing that? Then the scuffle, you're just like over the top with just, I don't know, ants or angst, I should say. So that's kind of where I see on that. Unless it's a dude like Jameson Williams, who's had a couple of issues already with behavioral things. He got into a bit of a scrap with one of the cornerbacks after a ball batted down in the end zone at camp.
With a undrafted free agent corner, which should tell you more than you need to know. Shout out to all the undrafted free agents who fight hard in these camps and play against actual draftees, like gumption.
Yeah, that's how you go make teams. You know, the Patriots made a living of finding those dudes and just having them work hard and being coached the right.
Texans like Arian Foster, undrafted free agent. Philip Lindsay, undrafted free agent. So, yeah, it happens. So maybe that corner is just elite.
Who knows? But Jameson Williams should try and beat him on the football field, not in a fight. So that's kind of where I'm at with him.
You give up big significant first round compensation last year. They moved up to choose him knowing he was going to be injured. He comes in and plays on like a managed workload. I think he had 1 reception all year. And so obviously then him starting suspended probably hurts. Like they're probably wanting to see more at this point. I think he needs to find a way to channel his energy, his focus, and really he needs to see football and nothing else for a little while. Like you can't be a first round pick and have, 4 games played and 6 receptions over your first 2 years. Like that's just not going to happen.
Nope. And especially with the pedigree that he had, like people were talking about him like he was the next Jamar Chase. Like you have a lot of expectations on you in a good offense that should be getting you the ball. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with him. He's just got to stop with all the bullshit, put his blinders on, and just play football. If he does so, then he should be a really good player. If he can't, it's unfortunate. But
so
we got an interesting comment here that we can just kind of touch on real quick.
Read this. Hang on. I just want to read you guys this comment my friend sent me because you're going to get a kick out of this. So I texted him about the Niners fight. I sent him a photo of it, and he said, was anyone at training camp dual wielding helmets? So Aaron Donald from last offseason. He's a Niner.
No, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So even the greats get into scuffles, right?
Absolutely. Now we can throw this quickly up. Honestly, I heard that the Dalvin Cook camp was not all that in a rush to go sign the deal with the Jets, so I don't know if that's going to get done. Typically, with these type of big meeting, like, oh, we're going to have him in for a visit, and we're going to pamper him, we're going to show him around the town. Typically, when you do that, you sign the player before he leaves. I'm pretty sure Dalvin left, and they didn't sign him, so that to me indicates that there's still another. He thinks that there's still another option out there for him. So I don't think it gets announced very soon, personally. So, what do you guys think on that?
Go ahead, Blake.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's probably going to be until someone gets hurt. I honestly have no idea where he's going to go. I mean, we were going through this basically same song and dance with D-Hop for what, 2 months it felt like. And did any of us at any time say that he was going to sign with the Titans? I don't think so. And we had like, and I think it's more or less going to be the same deal here. I think Miami is still a possibility, but Miami's got a pretty good like committee going on right now, and they're going to have to cut two or three of those guys to make Dalvin Cook happen. Patriots are a possibility. That would be nasty to have Dalvin Cook and Ramondre Stevenson. As a Bills fan, the Jets are probably the team. The Jets in the past are probably the two teams I would least want to see him go to complement either Ramondre or Breece Hall. It would probably be quite the problem. But honestly, I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea where or when. I think it's an unfortunate part of the game is guys go down and someone else is going to get an opportunity, just as we were talking about with Deion Jackson.
Yeah, the way I look at it is I think he has a team he wants to go to, and he's kind of waiting to see whether that's actually going to pan out or not. That's what all of this feels like to me, especially with the Miami rumors. I think he wants to go to Florida and go play with Tua and Jalen and Tyreek, and he's hoping that maybe this, look, other teams want me, is going to drive up his price tag a little bit with that GM. And we'll see, maybe we get to preseason games and the Dolphins running back committee isn't looking as hot as they want, and something happens. So you never know.
Sorry, guys. One of the leagues, one of the fantasy leagues I'm in, just Devontae Adams was just traded for Jeremy Ford, Wahid Shaheed, the 204 and the 307.
Oh, yeah.
No. Oh, no. Not if I have something to say about it. That's completely ridiculous. Like, I just offered him Cortland Sutton and Deebo Samuel a second and a third for Tyreek Hill. So he's like, oh, that's not enough. I'm definitely not taking that. Oh, okay. Here you go around, turn around, do that. Oh! Sorry. Quick little respite there. That's why I was looking like I was a little distracted because that just grinds my gears. Good Lord.
I thought you were just looking at your Cam Newton jersey in the corner and thinking about like that.
You're funny.
So last little
didn't you guys have a 24-point lead in the AFC Championship and lose?
Dang. Why did I get brought into this?
You just roasted my Cam Newton jersey
collection. Catch the strays out here.
Talk about my good jerseys, not the only poop one that I own. Come on now.
It's okay. I had an EJ Manuel jersey.
Oh no. At least he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's one of my fraternity brothers.
That is
cool. Last piece of news, just briefly, quarterback competition still going on down in Houston. Davis Mills and CJ Stroud switching first team reps. No starter is declared and anticipated to be declared before preseason starts. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? You like that approach? Do you think they should just
I think we should ask you, Louie.
I have my own thoughts. I'll go last.
I don't know.
But I'll also say,
is this the right scenario for CJ Stroud to walk into?
Yeah, right. To be honest, like new head coach, rookie offensive coordinator, probably a rookie center week 1 and a questionable receiving core. I'm not going to be mad if Davis Mills starts the first 3 to 4 weeks. Like, we play the Ravens week 1, and that just seems like a recipe for disaster, like even more than Colts versus Jacksonville.
That was who Nathan Peterman started against, was the Ravens. We lost that game 35-0.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Davis Mills is not going to win that game, but I don't necessarily know that CJ Stroud is either. And you have a pretty young core there that's all learning a new playbook. And I would almost say, like, let some of the growing pains happen before you put the rookie quarterback in the game. But also, they say Davis Mills has been looking really good in camp, so who knows? Maybe he'll come out stunning. All the guys. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I don't think that I think the whole waiting for a quarterback to be put into the starting role, I think that's just kind of been blown by the wayside. I think these teams are trying to get their rookie quarterback in at first, on the go, if he's ready, because they're really trying to maximize this rookie deal. If you just miss games in your rookie season, you're missing development points. I mean, as the Texans, they should know that they're in for a middling season and a development year for CJ Stroud. So why not get as many mistakes out as possible now, and as many lumps that you can take now and learn from them from the start of the season to the whole season? That's just my kind of rookie quarterback take.
Yeah, the kid play.
Yeah.
That's why you took him so high. Like, he it's not a secret. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. I mean, there are like the Aaron Rodgers and maybe the Jordan Love of the world. We'll see what happens with that. But I don't know. I don't see the benefit in sitting there and being a backup when you know what it is. And yeah, Tyler said it right. Like, you only have this rookie deal for so long. Like, and they're going to learn a lot more by doing than they are by watching.
Yeah, I mean, those are all good points. The other thing I would say in favor of him starting week 1 or very soon at the beginning of the season, because we open at Baltimore, but that home team crowd does not want to see Davis Mills, man. The people who are going to go to a game, buy tickets to go to NRG, they don't want to see Davis Mills playing. So, and I mean, the Colts week 2, Colts have a pretty bad secondary right now. We'll see how their defensive line looks, but yeah. So I don't know.
I think that's the news, right? I think we're good with the news.
Let's move in.
Let's do this. Let's do this ad read real quick, and then we can do the toss.
Stadium Rant proudly presents Sportsmanlike Misconduct, hosted weekly on Wednesdays by Karson McKinley. He is always coming up with innovative ways to bring content to this community. After this episode, be sure to go give him a sub at his channel and check out his recent NFL videos.
Perfect. Yeah, let's get to the Louie, start us off, buddy. What we got?
Right. So this week's toss, a little bit different than what we've done before, but this week's toss is called Tank or Tread Water. And it's basically, would you rather your team, right? So put this in the context of your favorite team. Would you rather kind of be a Steelers? Big Ben's retired. You're going 8-9, 9-8 every single year for a couple years. Or would you rather just have 2 bad years, 3 bad years, but then have the talent necessary to come back up to the top of your division? So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. So, wait, my bad.
Patriots might kind of be in this boat right now, right? Been middling here for a couple years. So tell me, like, you're on one side of it. How do you feel about that?
I absolutely hated our 2 wins against the Jets 2 years ago. The year that we could have kind of reconsolidated our assets and fought for a top pick and gotten a real playmaker and a real player. We didn't. We tried to push, all that whole time last 2 seasons ago, and we made it to the playoffs, which is great. We went 10-7, but then we got absolutely stomped on by the Bills, which hurt. And it was just like, why did we do that? We really just moved like 7-8 spots in the draft deeper, and then we traded back and got Cole Strange instead of being, I don't know, between that 10 and 15 area range. Like, pretty sure the Jets got Garrett Wilson. That's what's it called, 10 overall, something like that. So again, if you take those kind of tough L's in that season, we could have a Garrett Wilson, and I would feel 10,000 times better about our offense currently. So really, to me, if you're not thinking you're poised for a championship run, I'm not saying full on tank, but like once you get into week 12 and you're kind of looking at it like, yeah, I'm not really into this anymore. Like, what are you doing really? Like, I get building culture in some teams. I get building a winning attitude in others, but you're the Patriots. Like, you know how to win. Just take it on the chin for a year, get some actual assets, and redo this rebuild the right way, in my opinion. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't like watching middling teams. I'm not a middling guy. It's either you should be in it for the chip or rebuild and reset. Like, obviously there's a period there where you're like, okay, we're building now, but once you get to the end of that, like that's a 3-year period. You got 3 years to build. If you're not ready to go, what's it called? Then you can't do anything. Like, you're not ready to go, just reset.
Blake, what are your thoughts on it?
It's a good question. I like this toss. Overall, I'm against tanking, and there's exceptions to every rule. I know this is a basketball show. I'm also a Miami Heat fan, and that's something that the Heat organization never did. After they lost like the Big Three, they lottery like once, and more or less. I mean, the Bills haven't accomplished what the Heat have accomplished, but we really only picked in like the top, even during like our 17-year playoff drought, my entire childhood. We really only picked in like the top 3, like once or twice. I mean, the only one I can remember is Marcel Darius, who was good for us for a while, but then we had some off the field stuff and we had to move him. And when we did end up getting Josh Allen, we actually had made the playoffs the year before. It was when we actually broke our playoff drought with Tyrod Taylor, and a lot of people, and we decided to cut bait with him, and because we had an option, and we decided, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it at the time too, because I was so happy to have made the playoffs, but they recognized like what the ceiling, kind of like what Tyler was just talking about, like what the ceiling. Taylor was a wild card team, and Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott aren't in the wild card first round exit business. They're in the divisional round or conference championship exit business. But anyways, so in order for them to get Josh Allen, they had to make some moves. They traded Cordy Glenn was our left tackle at the time to the Bengals, who he ended up starting with for a while, and it was kind of, and the Bengals are also the team that helped us get into the playoffs when Tyler Boyd took it on 4th and 12 against the Ravens, and then from there we moved up further. I think we went from we were at pick 13 and then moved from pick 13 to pick 7 to get our guy. So, and then you can look at other teams like the Cardinals. I think are a great example, who they got Josh Rosen at pick 10, and then a year later they got Kyler Murray at pick 1 overall, and Kyler Murray has shown some flashes, but I think it's pretty much consensus that this is the last year for Kyler Murray in Arizona. So it's really hard to answer. But I am against tanking. It's bad for the sport. You want to try and win those games, and especially when you have a young quarterback, like even when you're out of playoff contention, you still need to try and win those games, and you need that experience, and you want to have something to build on, and and like if you're the only exception is, I guess, like when you're in that quarterback business. So now talking on the other side of that again with I think Daniel Jones and the New York Giants are a perfect example, because they kind of played themselves out of the quarterback market this year, and they actually had a really good season. And they were and then they were looking at it, and they were kind of stuck with Daniel Jones. They really didn't have any other opportunities, and now they're probably going to be looking at mediocrity for the next 3 or 4 years. So it takes a really good GM to know what the quarterback draft class looks like, and who your competition in that market variables that you have to factor in. But above all, winning breeds winning, and you got to take steps, and you got to make progress, and so yeah. I know I kind of contradicted myself a few times there, but I'm gonna leave it and say, just win, baby, win.
Yeah, so my team kind of did that and played themselves out of the number 1 overall pick this last year. A week 18 meaningless game by most standards. Davis Mills on an absolutely unprecedented throw right over the fingertips of the corner to a tight end who's not even on the roster anymore. And it's just one of those things that it's like, it felt like such a sham at the time, right? Feeling like we just played ourselves out of the number 1 overall pick. And even though CJ Stroud was my number 1 quarterback, so I don't really feel like it affected us that much. In my perspective is like, I'm competitive. Like, I hate losing at anything. And I don't know how, as an organization, you ask your players to go out there and not do what you pay them to do. To me, that's the biggest thing. Like, as a human being, if I ever heard about an organization that was like, yeah, we want to suck this year, I would never work for that organization. Like, excellence is excellence, and performers always perform. And if you don't want to be in that conversation, then I don't want to be in your building. So, the competitive spirit, kind of like what you said, Blake, I agree. I think winning is just winning. And to have access to winning, you have to win.
Plain and simple, yeah.
It's a tough league. And, wins are hard earned most of the time. Like, any given Sunday, guys go out there and do incredible things that defy almost all human logic and ability. So to go out there and be like, hey, like, you're going to suck or I'm going to bench you. These guys are going to, and it's so, like, in the perspective of our week 18 game, right? Davis Mills is in at quarterback, and he knows that number 1 overall pick or number 2 overall pick, they're probably going to take a quarterback. So in his mind, he's like, I'm playing for my job right now, either way. And then Jordan Akins, right? He's on the Browns now. He caught the winning touchdown pass. He's on a 1-year deal. He's playing to put bread on the table for next year. Like, looking for another deal. Got to put something on tape. Like, a grown man snag is what he needed to put on, and he got a new deal because of it. So, yeah, I don't know how you do it unless it's like a collective thing where all your big playmakers are hurt and you're just like benching starters because you can't imagine any more players getting damaged on the season. I don't really agree with tanking.
I would definitely not say like when you start your season, obviously you shouldn't start it to tank. But if you get into the season and things aren't looking great, I don't know. I think it's a better way to recoup some assets personally. I'm not saying go out there and suck. It's just like I don't really know. It's just like for me as a fan, I've been I'm very much used to winning and having good players and like doing all these things. So to be in the mediocrity level and to see other teams getting good players at the top of the draft constantly throughout the past 4 or 5 years and us not doing that because we want to add 2 wins to our schedule that really don't matter for any. To me, they don't matter. As far as I'm concerned, they matter for a team like teams that don't win Super Bowls often. Like we have done that. The pedigree is here. We have things that transferred over who have won championships. Like we have that. So to me, we don't have good players. Like we don't have an elite type player that you can only get at the top of the draft. So for my situation, I understand, but I agree with both of you in the way that you can't just ask these players who this is their job to go out there and not perform because then that's going to affect their livelihood. Definitely understand that. Just wanted to kind of tie that up because I started and then you guys had some really good points. I just kind of wanted to.
My biggest thing at some point becomes like, if you really want to tank, then sell your good players. Like just embrace the fact that you're having a bad season. You're going to reset the roster and start over, but you shouldn't go out there on Sunday with the intention of losing. Like,
I agree.
Do you know what I mean? I know that feels contradictory, but like,
well,
if you know you're going to be a bad team and you're willing and you're okay with being a bad team, let your good performers go to teams that are going to perform and recoup those assets and then just move on.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like it's decide one lane or the other. Are you going to be a team that goes forward or are you going to be a team that's going to be rebuilding? You got to decide and make the best decisions for yourself and your players.
Yep.
I agree. I think we did that one pretty well.
Yeah. So that puts us in our new segment, positional playmakers. So this is going to replace our division dissection since we got through all 8 divisions, which is crazy. Really, we did that for 8 weeks. Time flies, and it's, football's here. When we started that segment, I was like, oh, this is going to go up to the week of the Hall of Fame game. And then when I was putting the show sheet together, I was like, it's the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah. I'm so hyped. Like, I'm going to tune in for that, be so hyped for it, watch like 15 minutes and be like, oh, there's just nobody. Like, this is like an XFL game now. Shit.
Yeah.
Which are cool,
though.
but
you watch you're watching players in NFL uniforms play football.
Yeah.
On an NFL field with NFL things going on. This is all that really matters.
My favorite thing to do during these games is to sit there and some dude gets absolutely toasted or like hammered in the backfield or something. And I'm like, I could do that. Like I could be out there and blow a 50-yard coverage or like I could get in the backfield.
But wait, Louie, could you do it without getting hurt?
I don't know. We'll find out.
That's
I'm pretty resilient.
Question.
I'm 6'1", 215. I feel like I could do it.
Okay, but what's your pliability?
Not very.
That's your problem. That's going to be a problem.
I'll get my yoga shoes on and I'll get right on that.
Go drink coconut water.
Top five corners in the league. And so what I want to do is I want everyone to give their 5, and then we'll go like that. So Tyler,
I feel like yeah. All right, we can go. I feel like it's gonna be more ambiguous the lower you go, and like.
So you want to start at 1 and go down?
I feel like it's easy. I feel like there's gonna be more debate with the lower ones, and I feel like maybe I'm wrong.
We can start 1. You okay with that, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm good with that. Who do you want to start, or do you want me to start? How we want to do this?
I can start if you guys want.
Go for it. Yeah.
All right. My number 1 corner is Derek. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You lied to us.
You really think it is, though.
My number 1 corner in the league right now is, I think it's close, but I think I'm going to go with Pat Surtain of the Denver Broncos. I think he's done it at a high level. And like, as I give these rankings, I know there's going to be people who disagree with me on the reigning defensive rookie of the year and where I have him, but I just think consistency is such a big part of the game. So I'm going to go with Pat Surtain as my number one. His stats don't really reflect it because they don't target him a lot. Like, he is just there, like blanketing all the time. And I think they got to put some respect on my man's name. So he's my number one.
Yeah, I'm right in line with you, buddy. I got Pat Surtain as my number one cornerback in the league as well. He's just got size, fluidity. He sticks to his people he's like butter. Like that dude's so smooth with his transitions. Zone, man, press, doesn't matter. Outside, inside, slot, left, right, doesn't matter. He gets put on a side and you're not throwing really over there. Like, that dude's a serious issue. I think he's going to reset the cornerback market, actually. So he's probably going to, get over that 20. He's probably going to be at like 22.3, somewhere around there when he gets signed. So
yeah,
if the Broncos don't do that, they're silly. They're silly to not do that. Spend all that money on O linemen and stuff, and then not pay Pat Surtain. That doesn't make sense to me. Bahookie, who's your number one cornerback in the league?
I'm gonna go Darius Slay.
Okay.
Ooh, I like that. Tell us why.
Yeah, I feel like, and who I'm gonna put two, I kind of have like one A, one B, honestly. But Darius Slay has the body of work to back it up, and we do have a lot of really good young cornerbacks. And some of the guys who I'm going to leave off of this list, and for me, it's about current level, and so current level matters. So that's not to say that a rookie or second year guy can't have that, but then when you have two guys who are like really close, body of work is kind of going to be what separates you from there. And yeah, I really couldn't believe when the Lions traded him. It wasn't just a free agent. I couldn't.
Good old Matt Patricia.
Wow. Yeah, that'll do it to you, won't it?
What a suck bag.
Yeah. The Eagles have done such a good job team building. Howie Roseman's their GM, right?
Yeah, he's smart, man. He's very smart, man. Make good moves.
Howie Roseman's a sicko.
Yeah, dude, I agree.
Dude's an animal.
Yeah, JC's getting a hard on listening to us right now. It's like, oh my god.
If I were an NFL GM, I wouldn't even trade with him. I'd be like, "There's no way I'm going to win this trade."
It's like dealing with Danny Ainge.
Yeah,
it's like dealing with Danny Ainge. He's like,
yeah.
Except he doesn't have the resume to be like, oh, you're gonna turn around after we have this handshake deal and add 2 more firsts and my best player to the deal, and we're not gonna get this done, are we?
This is James. Is it James Belfort? Is that the guy from Wolf of Wall Street?
Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort, and he's like, I'm gonna sell you some stocks, and I'd be like, I'm good.
I don't need those things.
So I'm right there in line with you, Blake. My number 2 is also Darius Slay. Like you said, I think he was a big part of what helped make that Eagles defensive line so good. Like, he plays press at a really high level. I think he's very fluid and has such an awareness of the game at his level of experience, and still has the athleticism to pull it off, which is pretty rare as cornerbacks get up in age. So he's my number 2. I think he was such a big part of that playoff and Super Bowl run for them last year.
My number 2 is going to be Sauce Gardner. From what I've seen, this guy's going to be 1 or 2 over the next 10 years, like dominating everything on defense. Like, he can do it all. He's a very similar build to Pat Surtain. I think that he's right there in line with skill set. He might not have the same body of work, but I'm going to go ahead and respect him just because I respect the pedigree. I respect what he had in college. And until somebody shows me he can be beat bad, he's my number 2 cornerback in the league. So that's where I'm at.
I'm merchant. No, I'm just kidding.
It's okay. You can talk that. I mean, I think I'm a little ahead on this take, and that's totally fine with me. I'm willing to let this grow into the take that it should be. But yeah, so Sauce is my number 2. Bahookie, who's your number 2?
Also Sauce Gardner. And I really was thinking, and I was really thinking about. I was between him and Darius Slay. You can make the argument to put Sauce first, honestly. Dude, he locked up Stephon Diggs. People don't do that. Ask J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson's a pretty good cornerback, but Stephon Diggs made a living making him look like he had special needs.
He made him look like I was covering him. Like I'm covering Stephon Diggs. I can't do that.
Sauce has size. You can't coach size, and especially with I think that cornerback is the most difficult position to play on the field. I was a middle linebacker. That was my position, and so like in middle linebacker has to know every position on defense. Like you need to know where everyone's at, what everyone's doing, what everyone's coverages are, and I could never play cornerback. I did not have I was a very smart football player, but there's a certain you have to have some God-given talent to play that position, and you have to be gifted, and he is very gifted. You can't coach a lot of the stuff that he does, and he's able to lock down number 1 receivers, kind of like an old New York Jets cornerback by the name of Darrelle Revis. They got a real gem. I really wanted the Bills to get him. I knew we weren't going to where he was valued and where we were picking, because just Sauce and Buffalo, I don't know, just I feel like he could have sold a lot of chicken wings.
Where are you at for number 3, Louie?
So yeah, this is gonna be such an unpopular list. My number 3 is Jair Alexander.
No, that's a good choice.
I think he's underrated, and I think Jair is an elite trash talker.
Yeah, he is.
That game where he locked up Justin Jefferson, I mean, that is, talk about a clinic. And the trash talk that followed was immaculate. And I think confidence has such a big thing to do at that level. And every time interview, they're like, who's the best player in the NFL? He's always like, I'm the best player in the NFL. And just that mentality that really carries some of these guys to the next level. And I think he's one of those guys. So he comes in at number 3 for me. He had a bit of a down year, not crazy. He had a couple bad games, but I think he really brought it back at the end of the season. And I think you'll see him top 5 again this year.
You're sniping me. I got Jair Alexander at 3 too. I think he's a heavily disrespected player. As you just said, he put on a clinic against the best wide receiver in football and absolutely locked his shit down. That leaves an impression, and it shouldn't go unnoticed. Jair Alexander has everything you need to be an elite top tier cornerback, and he shows it and brings it every single day. So, yeah, he's an absolute stud. Can't really get any other, way around that one. So yeah, Jair is my 3. What do you got, Blake?
Jair is a certified dog. I got PS2 in this specific spot. Not to take away from what you're saying about Jair. And a lot of the stuff that you were saying earlier. He was one of the bright spots of that Broncos team last year, and we were forced to watch them on prime time so many times last year.
Every game.
It was so painful.
I'm tired of riding.
Just the straight 13 to 17 games all the time.
Dude, it was so they were the worst games to watch.
I'd take it right now.
The NFL, all of NFL football fans last year, is why the NFL needs to fix their flex rule, and they need to like start flexing primetime games way earlier in the year than they do, because it was just not right what we were subjected to. But with that being said, seeing PS2 play, like that kid's got it, and his father had it too, with the Dolphins back in the day, opposite Sam Madison. That was an excellent cornerback pairing. But yeah. I mean, you made the points. He doesn't get tested too often, but he will make you, if you do and you're feeling froggy, he will make you regret it.
I agree.
All right. My unpopular list continues. I know I'm going to get so much hate. This is my most undefendable pick on here. Number 4, I have Marshawn Lattimore as my 4th corner in the NFL. Because I considered for a stretch of time Mike Evans to be one of the best receivers in the game. And I think Marshawn Lattimore matched up with Mike Evans unlike anyone else. And I think he just has those traits. For you guys know who I've been pushing down this list is going to make an appearance here. But I just think Marshawn, again, has this body of work. Like, he's been a good corner. Injuries have been plaguing him a little bit of the last couple seasons, so I'd like to see him put together like a full string. But, he just has the moves. And he's been one of my favorite players over the last few seasons. Like, he just got, like Blake said a few minutes ago, dog.
Certified. Yeah.
All right. So fair disclaimer, I don't actually have Darius Slay on my top 5.
Wow.
My number 4 is a relatively lesser known player, Tyson Campbell, cornerback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that a lot of his production is based on like where he's been at in his defense. So I think that he's going to take this next step forward. I think he has all the traits. He's just really one of those dudes who just doesn't get talked about. He is on his receivers like white on paper. So I think that he has everything that you kind of need to be a number 1 cornerback, and I think he's going to take that next step. And with what he's done now, I mean, he's allowed like a 62% catch rate in his career. I think he has 5 interceptions. I mean, it's this one's kind of more of a projection for me. I like the player quite a lot. I've liked his tape. I think that he's going to take that next step, and he's going to be a lot more of a household name by the end of this year. So I kind of took a projection kind of take on these, so that's a little bit different from you guys. But yeah, Tyson Campbell is my number 4 cornerback in the league. That's how I feel currently.
I did not see that one coming for sure. But I bet no one saw Lattimore coming on anybody's top 5, so I won't say anything.
If this was like 2 years ago, I'd totally agree with you on Lattimore. I do think that he's lost a bit of a step. But he's still an elite coverage guy. I just bit scared about the injuries and how those have kind of progressed. But Bahookie, who's your number 4?
Number 4 for me is Jair. We talked about him earlier, and you were talking about and kind of tying into his history with Justin Jefferson. He's got a history with Stephon Diggs dating back to his days in Minnesota. Those two do not like each other, and we played against the Packers this past year, and they were still going at it. That dude holds grudges, man. He kind of reminds me of Aqib Talib, like with Michael Crabtree snatching the chain. That was pure football cinema.
I miss Aqib Talib, bro.
And
him and Sherman, dude.
Yeah, those are nasty. And I need to donate to the swear jar.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, I do really respect Jair's game, and yeah, it's kind of tough because there are some really good cornerbacks that are going to be left off these lists in that honorable mention category, and so I don't fault you for choosing Marshawn Lattimore. Because yeah, he's had some injury history, and he's been a little bit inconsistent, uh, but he's been around for a while, and I expect some of these older cornerbacks to kind of have a little bit of a resurgence. I don't think it's just exclusively going to be the young guys. So with that being said, Tyler, I can kind of understand where you're coming from, but yeah, Jair is just you're not gonna have an easy day playing against Jair Alexander, and his game travels whether you're home or away, and well, so I don't know if the Packers are going to be in the playoffs this year. They might have a chance to get there. We'll see what Jordan Love can do, but he's an experienced guy, and he'll go. He doesn't care who you are. He's bringing it to you.
Hell yeah. What do you got for 5, Louie? Wrap us up when we wrap this up.
Yeah, I got Sauce at 5. I loved. So yeah, I watched a lot of film on Sauce because one of my friends is a huge Sauce fan. I do think he needs to clean up his hand game a good bit, especially at the top of the route. I think there's probably 5 instances I saw on film last year where I thought it should have been a flag and it wasn't, and it really would have changed the direction of the game. But there is no denying his instincts are incredible. Like, doesn't turn his head around, knows exactly when to turn the gas off and go up. Like, it seems superhuman at times. And if he takes any kind of step forward in year 2, I think he will cement himself as the number 1 corner in the NFL. Undoubtedly. I just think you have to see it twice. There have been some one-hit wonders in the NFL, and I think you just have to see it twice. So Sauce is my 1. 2 honorable mentions. Trayvon Diggs, I feel like should have been on this list. I just didn't know how to get him on. Probably the best corner in the NFL that gets the most hate, because I think turnovers are one of the most important stats for corners. And I think he's great at creating those. And then Jace Horn is my other one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Really injured. AJ Terrell would be here somewhere too. Like, just some of these younger guys.
It's not JC, it's just Jace.
Is it just Jace?
I'm asking you, yeah.
I have no idea.
I thought it was JC, but
that boy Horn. Down on the Panthers.
All right.
I hope he has a bounce back season. He's super talented as well.
So yeah, my 5th is actually one of those honorable mentions. I got Trayvon Diggs as my number 5 cornerback in the league. I do think I agree with you totally that interceptions is a massive, massive part of playing cornerback. What I will say about that is that people aren't afraid to throw at him. So that does take away from his coverage ability, but he has that lurker type of ability and that innate instinct to be a ball hawk that kind of cancels that out. So what I think about Trayvon Diggs is he is like a more athletic, better version of J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson needed a lot of coaching, a lot of scheme help to get a lot of those interceptions. I think Diggs is just that good.
Tipped balls.
Yeah. I think Diggs is just that good to command to like make these things happen instead of JC kind of falling into them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think because I'd rather have a corner that lets a quarterback drive 80 yards down the field, but then they don't end up kicking a field goal, than one that only lets them drive 40, but they're putting 3 points on the board. And I think that's where you see the stupid stat with all these stupid stats with Diggs. And I think the conversation is just unwarranted. Like, his work shows. People dig into Diggs to try and make him look like a worse player than he actually is. Just take the metrics at face value. He's added the most interceptions in the league since 2021. And if you have
that's a massive value.
If you have the talent to play unorthodox, then play unorthodox. It's the guys who don't have the talent to do it where it becomes an issue.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree there. An honorable mention is probably going to be for me. I mean, JC Horn's a really, really good one. If he stays healthy, he could be in this. He probably replaces Tyson Campbell for me if he's healthy for number 4. Obviously Darius Slay as well, because honestly, he kind of just went right over my head when I did mine. So remembering him, he probably should have been in there, but I'm gonna stay true and add him as my honorable mention. Bahookie, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, I got Trayvon Diggs as my number 5 as well. He's a star, literally and figuratively. He's also the brother of Stephon Diggs, so I kind of have. But he showed progress, and he wasn't getting burned as much as he was the year before, and yeah, he's a ball hawk, and he's gonna continue to get better. Him and Stephon train with and against each other all off season.
It's fascinating.
Just crazy.
None of us had Ramsey on our list.
Yeah.
I think that was crazy.
It has something to do with that, but I feel like he's taken a few steps back these last couple of years. I'm just gonna be honest. Josh Allen cooks him every time.
That Jamar Chase tape in the Super Bowl, man. I'm sorry, but
I miss Jaguars. Jalen Ramsey. Like I hated playing against him.
Different guy.
Oh my gosh! Like
different player.
The play and the talk and the attitude was just must.
He had swag. He has it all. It's fallen off a little bit. Like
additional shout out.
But I got my honorable mentions. Chardavius Ward.
I was gonna say Ward deserves to be in this.
I was really between him and Trayvon Diggs, but I was just like, I can't leave Trayvon Diggs off of this list, and because of the star power that he has, and Chardavius Ward is kind of like not quite as appreciated as he should be, and a little bit of bias here, but is Tre'Davious White because he's had that ACL. And when he came back last year, he was not playing at the All-Pro level that he was before. From everything, I've obviously been hyper focused on what the Bills have been doing in camp. From all reports, he's back, and I'm looking forward to him getting back to that top 5 level, and because we were really missing that, and we're gonna need him at full strength against a Jamar Chase, because we're gonna see them week 9 and probably a second time.
Tariq Woolen too. I mean, I don't think he was as dominant, and probably on a little bit of a worse defense. But I'm excited to see him when Jamal Adams comes back.
I mean, him and Devon Witherspoon and Adams, like that secondary is just quietly dangerous again.
I know we got to wrap up, but also like it was so hard to make this top 5 list, and I feel like there's 3 more elite corners that came into the league this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like just.
I'd like to put Christian Gonzalez on there already, but I need to see it first.
Saying he looks good in camp.
He looked great when I saw him.
Yeah.
Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon. I mean, Derek Stingley's going to have a year, hopefully without injury. I just feel like there's so many up and coming corners. Like, we're back, baby. Defenses are back.
Football is back. And on that note, I think we had our show. We're under an hour and 10. We made progress. I mean, Shane's not here, but
is it inappropriate to say suck on that, JC?
No, it's not. Actually, it's encouraged. He can clip that for the TikTok and throw it on there too if he really feels like it.
Everybody enjoy football on Thursday night, and make sure to tune back in next Tuesday for the next episode of Stadium Rant.
Let's go.
See you guys.
Good territory.